I've been an advocate of Andy Dalton and believe he's one of the 32 best quarterbacks in the world for a long time. And because he doesn't have the physical gifts of some of these guys in the league, I think his career has gone a different route, and he's found himself as a backup when he should be a starter in this league. Like, he's better than, at least half the quarterbacks that are starting in the league right now. He's better than them. He's smart. He's accurate. He knows where to go with the football. He makes the layups. He gets the ball out of his hands quickly because of the things that I'm talking about. And that automatically helps your football team because, if nothing else, you're not taking sacks. You're not making negative plays. And so any team that makes, a 4-yard gain instead of a 5-yard loss is always going to have a better chance to be a good football team.
Good for you, Kurt Warner. Now, that is actual analysis on Andy Dalton and the Panthers. This is Sports Guy Talking that you guys are watching and listening to. I am Dustin Tran, your host, as I am here today to talk about Kurt Warner praising Andy Dalton for fixing the Panthers. With the Panthers beating the Raiders by the score of 36-22, the vibes in Carolina are at an all-time high. All jokes aside, though, Andy Dalton significantly improved the offense for the Panthers as they actually looked pretty good out there. Before I say anything else, though, I want to present you guys with the topic question. So, here it is. Will Andy Dalton lead the Panthers to a second straight win? Book it. Andy Dalton will lead the Carolina Panthers to beating the Cincinnati Bengals on Sunday. I am fired up for this game. I am extremely excited about it. I believe guys like Xavier Legette, Diontae Johnson, Tommy Tremble, Chuba Hubbard, Miles Sanders, and even Jonathan Mingo will all go off. We are going to be seeing a fireworks explosion happen in Charlotte on Sunday. I believe the Panthers offense is going to at least score over 30 points. We also know that the Bengals defense is not very good whatsoever. You look at the Raiders defense versus the Bengals defense, it's pretty clear the Raiders defense is significantly better than the Bengals defense. I bring that talking point up because Andy Dalton cooked the Raiders defense. Andy Dalton threw for over 300 yards against that Raiders defense, and their defense is considered really good. They got one of the best pass rushers in all of football in Max Crosby, and Christian Wilkins is an underrated defensive tackle. But you know what the Panthers offensive line did? They neutralized those two guys, and they managed to look really good. And speaking of the Panthers O-line, I gotta shout out those guys for having a great game against the Raiders. Matter of fact, they've been playing great throughout the season. Most people just didn't realize how good the Panthers offensive line was because of how bad Bryce Young was for the Carolina Panthers. But I'm not here to trash on Bryce Young. I've already done that on several videos. I want to talk about praising Andy Dalton because Andy Dalton did a pretty good job running the Panthers offense. Obviously, you got a first-year head coach in Dave Canales, but Dave Canales has proven himself at a high level because he was able to get Andy Dalton to play his best game in years. Andy Dalton looked efficient out there. In fact, Andy Dalton was the first quarterback this season to throw for 300 plus passing yards and 3 passing touchdowns in the same game this season. You look at all these quarterbacks in the National Football League that have started games this year, and nobody was able to do it until Andy Dalton on Sunday. Obviously, Joe Burrow also did that on Monday Night Football as well, but you get what I'm saying. Andy Dalton and Joe Burrow are the only 2 quarterbacks to throw for 300 plus passing yards and 3 passing touchdowns in the same game this year. I'm excited to see what Joe Burrow is made of. I think Joe Burrow is going to have a great game for the Bengals, although he might have a couple of turnovers. But I'm also excited to see what Andy Dalton can do. Obviously, there's no Adam Thielen. On Sunday, he injured his hamstring. He's going to be out 4 weeks at least. So we'll see what happens. But I think this is an opportunity for Diontae Johnson to have a breakout game. It's also going to be a good opportunity for Xavier Legette to make some big plays downfield. And who knows, maybe Jonathan Mingo can even make some plays as well for the Panthers. We'll see though. This Panthers roster is not bad at all. The offense is actually pretty loaded. We just didn't know that because Bryce Young was that bad of a quarterback. But like Kurt Warner said, Andy Dalton knows what he's doing and he understands how to make players around him better. That's why he was talking about Andy Dalton being better than half the starting quarterbacks in the league. I'm not going to go as far as to say that, but if you want to argue that talking point, he might not necessarily be wrong with that. I say that because Andy Dalton is a smart quarterback. Andy Dalton knows how to find open receivers. Andy Dalton has a nice deep ball. In fact, his accuracy is pretty underrated as well. There's just a lot of things Andy Dalton does well, which I greatly appreciate. Also, you have to note that it's a lot better than whatever Bryce Young was doing for the Carolina Panthers. And I want to show you guys this clip of Jordan Schultz talking about Bryce Young and how he was set up to fail on the Panthers. This is going to be audio only because of copyright issues. But anyways, though, he's talking about how no quarterback would have been able to succeed on the Panthers. Obviously, that narrative just got busted up this past Sunday. Roll the film.
First of all, 2 games, 18 total for his career, is not a big enough sample size. I don't care who you are. Now, I've asked around a few different personnel people, coaches, what would happen if you put your quarterback in that system? You know what they say? He would struggle because no quarterback is set up to win there. What they mortgaged in that deal with Chicago to get the number 1 pick was a dearth now of talent at wide receiver, at tight end, at offensive line, these marquee positions for any young quarterback to succeed. Now, it wouldn't surprise me at all, Colin, based on what I've been told over the last few days, if Bryce Young were to say, I want out, and I think he should want out. I would make the argument that no quarterback in the league would have success there, including a Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes. That's how bad it is. And if you think about the history of quarterbacks within the Carolina Panthers franchise under this ownership group, Matt Corral did not do very well. Sam Darnold, Teddy Bridgewater, Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
These guys don't have success. And it's at some point you have to say.
And now they're all having success
everywhere. Absolutely. Your guy, Sam Darnold, has looked awesome in Minnesota so far. Look at Baker Mayfield, just got paid. The bottom line, if you're David Tepper and you're the Panthers, you have to sit back, Colin, in my opinion, and say, look, we are the problem. Because Bryce Young was the number 1 pick for a reason. He probably would have gone 1 or 2, even if Houston had the, whatever. This is a team that is not built to win now. It's a roster that has just holes everywhere. And I think they have put him in a really tough position. And if I'm Bryce Young, I'm looking out and I'm saying, I can't succeed here.
As you guys all saw, that take aged horribly. This man was talking about how Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes would not have succeeded on the Panthers, but that's just simply not true. Because if that was the case, then why did Andy Dalton come in and throw for 300 yards in his first game? Make it make sense. Obviously, Jordan Schultz was paid to say those things because there ain't no way Jordan Schultz believed what he said. Because if he did, well, then he's a bigger idiot than what I gave him credit for. Obviously, Bryce Young was simply not an NFL caliber quarterback, and Andy Dalton proved that he was indeed an NFL caliber quarterback. As far as how the game is going to play out on Sunday for the Bengals and Panthers, I think there is going to be a lot of scoring in the game. I expect Jamar Chase and T. Higgins to play well for the Bengals, but I also expect Diontae Johnson to have a career game as well. Also expect Xavier Legette to make some big plays in the passing game. I also think Chuba Hubbard is going to do a good job running the football on those guys as well. I'm really excited to see what the Panthers are going to be able to do offensively. There's going to be a lot of scoring. I see the score being 31-27 Panthers. I think it's going to be a shootout, but I think ultimately the Panthers are going to make a 4th quarter comeback, and Andy Dalton is going to throw the game-winning touchdown pass to guess who? Diontae Johnson. I'm excited to see how this game is going to play out, and I really believe that Andy Dalton is an underrated quarterback. The only reason why Andy Dalton isn't starting anymore for the most part is because he's an old quarterback. If Andy Dalton were 5 years younger, he would still be a starting quarterback in the National Football League, but obviously Andy Dalton is getting up there in age, and not everybody can age their game like a Tom Brady or a Drew Brees or an Aaron Rodgers. The reality of the situation is Andy Dalton is an old quarterback that is probably going to be headed towards retirement sooner rather than later, but the fact that he was significantly better than Bryce Young, that just tells you how bad Bryce Young was as a starting quarterback in the National Football League. So that is why Andy Dalton will lead the Panthers to their 2nd straight win, as they will beat the Bengals by the score of 31-27. Remember, go ahead and subscribe to Sports Guy Talking, like the video, and please comment down below. If you guys do that, I may shout you guys out in my Instagram story every Monday. That will be for the @DustinNashTran Instagram account. Make sure to follow me on Instagram @DustinNashTran and at Sports Guy Talking. Also, go follow me on Twitter @DustinNashTran. Again, go ahead and do those things that I just told you guys to go do. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the content that was just produced. Peace out. I hope you enjoyed that video. Want more of Sports Guy Talking, the home of great sports content? Make sure you click that subscribe button to get the latest from Sports Guy Talking. Go ahead and like the video, comment down below, check the description box on the video in order to follow my Instagram and Twitter. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from the YouTube channel, Sports Guy Talking.